BBC Wiltshire, it's now 16 minutes after 10. Now, did your granddad teach you how to recognise your cauliflower from your curly kale in the veg patch? Or have you got a teenager in the family who's taught you how to download an app or find the best deals online? That kind of skill swap between generations is just what a new scheme in Wiltshire is trying to harness. Launch to Learning is based in Cairn, and Marie Wykes is here to tell us more. Marie, good morning to you. Thank you for being with us.
No.
It's a nice idea, isn't it? This whole business of one generation teaching another about things, in what you maybe gardening from grandfather to grandson or granddaughter, and technology, the other way around. Tell us about the scheme. How does it operate?
Well, basically, we started off. We are a tuition centre in Cairn, and when we started off doing maths, English, and science tuition for basically 5 to 18-year-olds, and what we found was that people of an older generation were coming in quite frequently into the office and saying to us, do you teach computer skills? Now, we do actually teach computer skills. However, these people just wanted to know about things like, exactly like you just said, using apps, being able to email, shopping. Security was quite high on the agenda as well. They weren't sure of things like online banking, how to set secure passwords and that sort of thing. It's the type of skill really that my kids as teenagers are just absolutely amazing at. They have no, and all teenagers just seem to be able to do this through osmosis or something. And the rest of us are still sort of like, okay, get out this and learn how to use this app and whatever. So we kind of it kind of coincided with the LIN, which is the local youth network in Cairn, identifying that there was quite a big problem within Cairn and also the outlying areas with N.E.E.T. The technical term is N.E.E.T. That means youth that are not in education, employment or training. And we kind of came up with the idea of potentially skill swapping these kids that were in that situation with the older people, because it wasn't, it's not a situation that we could set up and charge people realistically for learning these computer skills. They're quite easy to get a hold of if somebody's explained it to you. So we started the project so that the kids would get the opportunity to have something that they could genuinely value in themselves and see themselves as teaching somebody else. And then they could actually learn something which would give them a bit of motivation, a bit of self-discipline, something that was new, practical as well, so that it wasn't books and target hitting and tick lists and that sort of approach, and without an view to using that as a sort of halfway house to get them then back into college or networking within the community to give them a chance of real employment that they were interested in rather than something they were made to do. So that's kind of how we're at the moment.
It's a great idea. Is it unique to Cairn or has it happened elsewhere? Because it's certainly, I just think it just sounds like all the best ideas, a simple, straightforward idea.
I honestly haven't heard of it. I haven't heard of it operating elsewhere. We kind of got a bit of the idea from, Hugh Farnley-Whittinstall. He started doing a guerrilla gardening project in Todmorden, up in Yorkshire, where people were going out and literally growing vegetables and things in plant pots around the area and, bits of council land, and literally taking spades and forks out. And we thought if we could potentially do it like that, we're sort of in negotiation with the council at the moment about potentially taking over a bit of council land and then have it as a community project as well, so people can have that experience of seeing stuff grow and also growing those veg for the community rather than the kids taking them home, or sometimes you have 4,000 million runner beans and you can't actually face another runner bean for months,
or maybe you don't even like them.
Well,
Now in terms of the teenagers that you talked about, what did you call them? N.E.E.T, not in employment,
not in employment, educational training. Yeah.
How willing are they to take part in this? Do they have in a sense, the patience to sit down and teach somebody, say, in the 60s or 70s about, the basics?
Every one of them that I've spoken to so far has, because of the novelty of the idea, the fact it's not tested, they're not under threat to achieve it, and the fact that it's quite a practical thing. And also, to be honest, after the initial few months of actually not being in education, employment or training, they're quite bored. There is like an element of there's only so much you can do in the house without, So I think there's an element of that. But also what we've got to remember is that these kids have been very, very disengaged, almost the education system in its present form has not worked for them. otherwise they wouldn't be in this position. So what we need to do is almost be a little bit delicate. They will not be turning up at 9 o'clock in the morning ready to do 6 hours work without any sort of motivation and that sort of encouragement. So there's going to be that sort of element to it, but also they have got a real genuine responsibility. They know they're good at the sort of social media and the computers and stuff. They genuinely know that. They're confident at it, and they genuinely know that it's not some sort of scheme where we've made something up to try to give them something to do. Other people genuinely need to know that, to have that knowledge and those skills. So it actually gives them that motivation through it being something genuine for them, rather than a made-up scheme to just get them out of the house.
Yeah. We're talking about Launch to Learning, and this is talking about teenagers, people in their 20s, helping the older generation with computers and vice versa. With us is Marie Wykes from the project, and we've talked really about what the kids are able to teach the older generation. And we mentioned in my introduction about recognising your cauliflower from your curly kale. Do you think a lot of younger people have an interest and would want to actually learn skills like that from older people?
I think, again, because it's a practical thing, then that's a really attractive pull in a way, because, again, at the moment the schools are very, very academic, not through their own fault, but a lot of it is very academic based, and kids who would have had more practical subjects in the past have not got quite as much access to it, and also the emphasis is not as much, is more on the academic now than the practical. So I think the fact that they can get out and get stuff that they can actively do, and they are brilliant at it, they're miles better than me, the way that they can do spatial awareness and the practical thinking and skills, and why don't we do that, the problem solving. I have seen kids of 16 years of age wipe the floor with me when we're trying to organise, like we tried to organise an art festival, we did organise an art festival in Wootton Bassett with 6 or 7 children who were from this genre, really, and they had it boxed. Their organisational skills were amazing. When you gave them practical things to do, they completely got it. I was standing there in the middle of it all going, what do we do now? So it kind of, what's happening next? So they're brilliant at it, but then they are then given that opportunity to be able to showcase those skills and get real genuine success from it. They're growing stuff, they're doing stuff that other people of that generation can't necessarily do. So I think they're everyone that I've spoken to about it so far they are all interested in it. Right.
Well, look, it's really, really great to hear that this is going well. If people want to be involved in it, if there are people listening and have thought, do you know what, I could really do with someone to show me how to use the net, or vice versa. Can people come along? Can people get involved?
What we need to do at the moment is we're looking for volunteers, because obviously it's only a pilot project. So if 200 people pitch up this afternoon, that would be fantastic. But we'd have to sort of keep it contained within it's a proper project with funding for it and everything else. So we won't charge anyone for it, but we have got to keep it within realistic. It's like volunteers, and we've got funding, as I said, from the local youth network. But if we had a handful, we do definitely need more volunteers to be the sort of mentors, older people that could need those skills. And we have got one place left for one of the youth members as well. So at the moment, we have still got a little bit of flexibility, and things haven't pitched up. So if people contact us through our website.
What's the website?
It's launchdtolearning.co.uk.
Launch, and that's a 2, isn't it?
Launch number 2.
Launch number 2, learning.
Learning, yeah.
.co.uk. Now, look, I'm just thinking, because obviously, if you're going to teach older people skills about computers, maybe not on the computer, maybe they're not online. Is there a phone number at all?
Yes, there is. It's 01249
01249
892 147.
147. So that's 01249 892 147. If you missed that, give us a ring here at the BBC and we'll pass that on to you. I think it's a great idea. I wish you all success with it.
Thank you.
And let us know how it goes. And it would be lovely to talk, actually, when it's been going for a little bit, to one of the what do you call them? Not in employment or education. So the younger people who's learned about gardening, one of the older people who's learned about computers. Brilliant. So can we do that in maybe, I don't know, a few weeks?
After harvest would be great. We'll bring you some runner beans.
Lovely. Okay. I shall hold you to that. Marie, thank you very much for being with us.
Thank you.